When Priscilla Presley finally opened Elvis's private safe at Graceland in 1982, 5 years after his death, she expected jewelry, maybe cash, perhaps contracts worth millions. What she found instead was a collection so personal, so heartbreaking, that she collapsed to the floor of his bedroom and wept for an hour. Inside wasn't the king of rock and roll. Inside was just a boy who never stopped missing his mama. The combination had been sealed in an envelope. Nobody touched it. Not after August 16, 1977. Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee. February 1982. Cold morning light through the stained glass peacocks. Priscilla stood outside Elvis's bedroom on the second floor. The door hadn't been opened in 4.5 years. Not properly. Not like this. She held a yellowed envelope in her hands. His lawyer had given it to her the week before with one instruction. When you're ready. She wasn't sure she'd ever be ready. The estate was drowning. Legal fees, taxes, mounting debts that threatened to swallow everything Elvis built. Graceland itself was bleeding $300,000 a year just to stay standing. Lisa Marie's inheritance was evaporating. The lawyers needed to know what assets existed. They needed that safe opened. Behind her, Vernon's old accountant waited. A lawyer from Memphis. 2 witnesses required by law. Priscilla turned the brass knob. The room smelled like him still. Old Spice and leather and something sweeter she could never name. His reading glasses sat on the nightstand. The bed was made. The thick carpet showed vacuum lines from 1977, preserved like archaeological evidence. She walked to the wall behind his television. Removed the framed photo of Gladys. The safe was built into the plaster, painted to match, invisible unless you knew. Her hands shook as she tore open the envelope. 3 numbers written in Elvis's own handwriting. January 8, 35. January 8, 1935. His birthday. Of course it was his birthday. She almost smiled. Then she didn't. What kind of secrets does a man guard with the day he was born? To understand what Priscilla found, you have to go back to July 1953. Tupelo, Mississippi. A small 2-room house on Old Saltillo Road where Elvis Aaron Presley lived with his mother Gladys and his father Vernon. Elvis was 18, working at Crown Electric Company. $7 a week. He just walked into Memphis recording service and paid $4 to record 2 songs as a birthday gift for his mama. My Happiness and That's When Your Heartaches Begin. Sam Phillips heard something, called him back. Within a year, Elvis recorded That's All Right. Within 2 years, he was on Louisiana Hayride. Within 3, he was on Ed Sullivan, filmed from the waist up, scandalizing 70 million Americans. But every single week, no matter where he performed, Elvis called Gladys. Twice a day when he could. He sent money home. He bought her a pink Cadillac before he bought himself anything. In March 1957, he purchased Graceland for $100,000, and Gladys cried when she saw it. Too big, baby, she told him. We don't need this much. You deserve a palace, Mama, he said. You deserve everything. He meant it, every word. But fame is a beast that eats time. Tours stretched longer. Hollywood called. Colonel Parker scheduled. Elvis performed. And the phone calls got shorter. Gladys started drinking. Just a little. Then a little more. She'd stand at Graceland's gates watching for his car. Fans would swarm. She'd go back inside alone. By 1958, Elvis was drafted. Fort Hood, Texas. Then Germany. Gladys grew sick. Hepatitis, the doctors said. Her liver was failing. Elvis got emergency leave in August. Flew home. She died August 14, 1958, at 46 years old. At her funeral, Elvis threw himself on her coffin. Screamed. They had to pull him away. He was 23 years old, and the only person who loved him before the world did was gone. He never recovered. Not really. Not ever. How do you grieve the one person who knew you before you became a stranger to yourself? After Gladys died, something in Elvis fractured. He came back from Germany in 1960 with Priscilla Presley, 14 years old, daughter of an Air Force captain. She moved to Graceland in 1963. They married May 1, 1967, in Las Vegas. 8 minutes. A suite at the Aladdin Hotel. 14 guests. Lisa Marie was born exactly 9 months later. February 1, 1968. Priscilla thought marriage would steady him. Didn't. The movies kept coming. 31 films between 1960 and 1969. Most of them forgettable. Elvis hated them, called them travelogues with songs. But Colonel Parker booked them anyway. The money was guaranteed. Meanwhile, Elvis collected things. Cars, guns, horses, jewelry. He'd buy Cadillacs for strangers. Once purchased 11 Cadillacs in one night. He'd hand them out in the parking lot of a dealership like he was giving away candy. Why? Priscilla asked him once. Because I can, he said. Because nobody ever gave me nothing. But late at night, alone in his room, he'd take out a shoebox. Inside were letters, photographs, a lock of hair, a recipe card in Gladys's handwriting for her cornbread. He'd read them by lamplight. Wouldn't let anyone see. Priscilla noticed. She'd hear him crying through the walls. In 1973, they divorced. Not because she stopped loving him. Because he'd stopped being present. The pills, the paranoia, the strange hours. He'd sleep all day, perform all night, live in a world of his own making where time didn't exist and pain could be medicated away. She took Lisa Marie and left Graceland. Elvis stayed, alone in that big house with his father and his entourage and his ghosts. By 1977, he was 42 years old, bloated, exhausted, still performing, still trying to prove something to someone who wasn't there anymore. August 16, 1977, he collapsed in his bathroom. Ginger Alden found him. Paramedics couldn't revive him. Cause of death: cardiac arrhythmia. Toxicology showed 14 drugs in his system. 50,000 people lined the streets for his funeral. Priscilla stood at Graceland's gates, holding Lisa Marie's hand, watching the world mourn a man they thought they knew. She knew they didn't. Not really. But did she? Back to February 1982. Priscilla's fingers on the dial. January 8, 35. Click, turn, click, turn, click. The safe opened with a sigh of old air. She expected gold. She expected cash. She expected something that would save the estate, justify the lawyers, make the whole exercise worth the pain of opening this wound. What she found was a cardboard shoebox, battered, taped at the corners, written on top in Elvis's handwriting, "Do not open, private." She lifted it out. It weighed almost nothing. The lawyer behind her stepped forward. "Mrs. Presley, we need to inventory." "Get out," she said quietly. "Ma'am, the estate requires." "Get out." They left. She sat on Elvis's bed. The same bed where he'd read scripts, where he'd played with Lisa Marie, where he'd taken his last handful of pills before walking to that bathroom. She opened the box. On top was a photograph. Black and white, creased. Gladys holding baby Elvis. 1935. Tupelo. She's looking at the camera, but he's looking at her. Even as an infant, his whole world was her face. Underneath, a stack of letters. At least 50. All in Gladys's handwriting. All addressed to Elvis at different locations. Germany, Hollywood,
Las Vegas.
all opened. All read so many times the paper was soft as fabric. Priscilla picked one up. Dated March 1958. Fort Hood, Texas. "My precious boy," it began. "I miss you something terrible. The house is too quiet without your laugh. Your daddy says I'm being silly, but I can't help it. You're my whole heart walking around outside my body. Come home soon. Love, Mama." There were birthday cards. A Father's Day card Elvis made in 2nd grade, construction paper and crayon. A lock of Gladys's hair tied with a blue ribbon. The ribbon was faded almost white. There was a receipt from a jewelry store. March 1957. A necklace. $500. For Mama, written in the memo line. There was a menu from Graceland's first Christmas dinner. December 1957. Gladys had written the dishes in pencil. Turkey, cornbread dressing,
Sweet petato pie.
There was a bottle. Small. Brown glass. Label worn off. Priscilla opened it. It still smelled like Gladys's perfume. White shoulders. Elvis had kept it for 24 years. And at the very bottom of the box, wrapped in tissue paper, a blue baby blanket. Threadbare. Holes in 3 places. The same blanket Elvis had been wrapped in the day he was born in Tupelo. Gladys had saved it. Elvis had taken it from her house after she died. Priscilla held that blanket and understood. Everything. All of it. The pills. The spending. The women. The desperate need to perform, to prove, to be loved by millions. It was never about fame. It was never about being the king. It was about trying to fill a hole shaped like a mother's love. And nothing fit. Nothing ever would. She collapsed onto his bed and wept. Priscilla didn't leave that room for 2 hours. She read every letter. Gladys wrote about ordinary things. The garden. The weather. A recipe she tried. But underneath every word was the same message. I love you. Come home. I love you. Come home. In one letter, dated July 1958, 1 month before Gladys died, the handwriting was shaky. Gladys wrote, Baby, I'm not feeling too good. The doctors say it's nothing, but I'm tired. So tired. I'll wait for you. I'll always wait for you. You're my sun and my sunshine. Don't you ever forget that. Elvis had folded that letter into a tiny square, like he could carry it in his pocket, like he could keep her close. Priscilla thought about the last 4 years of his life. The jumpsuits that barely fit. The onstage collapses. The concerts where he forgot lyrics, where he rambled between songs, where he seemed lost. She thought about Lisa Marie asking, Why doesn't Daddy smile anymore? She thought about Elvis alone in this room at 3 in the morning, taking pills to sleep, taking pills to wake up, taking pills to feel nothing at all. And then sitting on this floor, opening this box, holding these letters, crying for a woman who'd been gone 20 years. The accountant knocked softly. Mrs. Presley? We need to. Is there anything of value? She almost laughed. Value? What's the value of a baby blanket? What's the value of a dead woman's perfume? What's the value of understanding why someone you loved destroyed themselves? No, she said. Nothing you can sell. She closed the box, put it back in the safe, locked it. January 8th, 35. She never told anyone what was inside. Not the lawyers. Not the biographers who came later. Not even Lisa Marie for many years. Some things aren't meant to be sold. Some things aren't meant to be known by the world. Some pain is too private, too deep, too sacred to turn into content. But she understood him now. Finally. Completely. Elvis Presley wasn't destroyed by fame. He was destroyed by love. By loving someone so much that losing them meant losing himself. By spending 20 years trying to hear his mama's voice one more time and hearing only silence. Every pill was a prayer. Every stage was a séance. Every scream from the crowd was an attempt to drown out the quiet of a house where Gladys no longer hummed. How do you survive being loved by the whole world when the one person whose love mattered is gone? Priscilla saved Graceland. She turned it into a museum. Opened the doors to the public June 7, 1982. Within 38 days, the house was profitable. Within a year, it was one of the most visited private homes in America. Within a decade, it was worth millions. But she never opened that safe for tourists. Never put those letters behind glass. Never turned Gladys's perfume into an exhibit. Some rooms at Graceland are off limits. The second floor. Elvis's bedroom. The bathroom where he died. You can visit the house, walk the halls, see the jungle room and the trophy building and the meditation garden where Elvis and Gladys are buried side by side. But you can't go upstairs. You can't see where he slept. You can't touch the safe. That belongs to him. Still, Lisa Marie grew up visiting Graceland. She'd sneak upstairs when she was young, sit on her father's bed, try to remember his voice. Priscilla told her about the box when Lisa turned 18. They opened it together. Lisa held the baby blanket and cried. He missed her so much, Lisa whispered. He did, Priscilla said. Every single day. Lisa Marie wrote about it once. Years later, she said, "My father was the most famous man in the world, and the loneliest. He had everything and nothing. He never stopped being that little boy from Tupelo who just wanted his mama to be proud of him." In 2023, Lisa Marie died suddenly. 54 years old. Cardiac arrest. She was buried at Graceland next to her father. Priscilla buried her daughter next to her ex-husband. Two people she loved. Two people destroyed by loving too much, by grieving too deeply, by carrying pain they couldn't set down. The box is still in the safe. January 8, 35. Locked. Private. Sacred. Sometimes Priscilla visits Graceland. Walks upstairs. Stands in Elvis's room. She doesn't open the safe anymore. She doesn't need to. She knows what's inside. A mother's love. A son's devotion. Proof that fame doesn't heal wounds. That money doesn't buy peace. That you can have the whole world and still be that little boy in Tupelo, holding your mama's hand, afraid of the dark. Elvis Presley died August 16, 1977. But part of him died August 14, 1958, at his mother's funeral. The rest of him just took 19 years to catch up. So what do we do with this story? What do we take from a king who kept a baby blanket locked in a safe? From a man who owned mansions but treasured a recipe card? From a legend who could fill stadiums but couldn't fill the hole his mother left? Maybe this: grief doesn't care about success. Loss doesn't care about applause. The deepest human need isn't fame or fortune. It's connection. It's being known. It's having one person who loves you for who you are, not what you do. Elvis had that. Once. And when he lost it, he spent the rest of his life trying to find it again in the faces of screaming crowds, in the arms of beautiful women, in the high of prescription drugs that promised numbness and delivered nothing. He bought his mother a mansion, but she wanted a phone call. He bought her a Cadillac, but she wanted his time. He became the king of rock and roll, but she just wanted her boy. And after she died, he finally understood. But understanding came too late. The tragedy of Elvis Presley isn't that he died young. It's that he lived without the one thing that made living worthwhile. The tragedy is that he had everything the world could offer and none of it mattered. The tragedy is that he was loved by millions and felt loved by none. Priscilla learned this standing in his bedroom, holding a box of old letters. She learned that the person you love might be fighting battles you can't see, carrying griefs you can't heal, missing people you can't bring back. She learned that sometimes saving someone means letting them know they're not alone in their grief, that their pain is real, that it's okay to miss someone forever, that strength isn't forgetting. Strength is remembering and choosing to live anyway. Elvis never learned that. Or maybe he did and it was too heavy to carry. But we can learn it. We can look at the people in our lives and ask, who are you missing? What are you carrying? What's locked in your safe that I can't see? We can stop assuming that success means happiness, that money means peace, that fame means fulfillment. We can remember that everyone, even kings, is just trying to feel loved, just trying to hear their mama's voice one more time. Graceland still stands. The gates still open. The fans still come. 50 years after Elvis's death, people line up to walk through the house, see the jumpsuits, visit the grave. But they don't see the safe. They don't hold the letters. They don't know about the baby blanket. Maybe that's right. Maybe some things should stay private. Maybe the truest parts of us aren't meant for display. But maybe we can take one thing from that locked box and carry it with us. Love the people you have while you have them. Say the words. Make the call. Don't wait for the right time. Don't assume there will be more days. Tell your mama you love her. Tell your daddy. Tell the people who loved you before the world did. Because one day, if you're lucky, you'll be famous. You'll be successful. You'll have everything you ever wanted. And if you're not careful, you'll realize none of it matters without them. Elvis knew. Priscilla knows. Lisa Marie learned too late. Now you know too. What will you do with it? Before you go, do something for me. Think of one person who loved you before you were anything. Before you had success, before you proved yourself, before you became whoever you are now. Think of them and reach out. Call them. Text them. Tell them you remember. Tell them it mattered. Tell them you love them. Do it today, right now, because tomorrow isn't promised, and locked safes only matter when the person who holds the key is gone. Make it count. Make the call. Don't let the king's story be yours.